What's happening, guys, and welcome to your upper body workout number 13. So today what we're going to mix through is 2 muscular strength sets and then a muscular endurance set at the end, which involves a few max reps, little finishes as well, just to try and burn out the muscles and get that final bit of energy we can from them. Before we get started, make sure you get your MyZone belt on, your app open up on your phone for the MyZone, and then your playlist ready to go, whether you're using Spotify, Apple Music, wherever it is, okay? Once you've done that, you need your 2 dumbbells and then your kettlebell as well. You can mix through varying what bit of kit you use for what move, but I'll explain all that as we get through it if you do need to shop and change as we go through. So, what we're going to get started on first is your warm-up. As we did with the last upper body session, just work through us at the same time. So we'll show you 1 rep and then just get stuck straight into that, and then we can move through it together. So what you're going to begin with, guys, is shoulder cars, which just involves rotating your a particular joint through 360 degrees. So you're going to work on the side that you're kneeling. So the other side. So begin, guys, now getting into it with that arm up in front of you, bicep to the ear, trying to keep your shoulders as square as you can. You don't want to, as you come around, you don't want to twist. You want to keep your shoulders square the whole time. You might find that that shoulder hasn't got a whole lot of range of movement. So what we're trying to do is just work through that. Go 5 backwards, and then you're going to switch knees and do 5 on the second side. So repeating the same thing again. Bring that arm up in front first, bring that bicep to the ear, and then coming out and back around. You want to keep that arm in line as much as you can until you get to a point where it's just going to shoot out anyway. That is pretty much the extent of your shoulder mobility once you reach that stage. So don't worry too much about it, just rotate up, round and down. Once you finish that there, you're going to come to both knees. Hands are going to go across the chest out, so you're going to lean over to one side and you're going to rotate around through the lower back, leaning forward or backwards depending on which way you want to go. You have to do 10 of these in total. So you can go around one direction, go around clockwise for 5, and then go anti-clockwise for the second 5. And what we're trying to do is just loosen up our lower back a little bit. As I say, guys, once you've done 5 in one direction, then go 5 in the opposite direction. All these moves, I'll put them on my Instagram before, guys. All CAR stands for is a circular articulated rotation, and it's just a fancy way of saying rotating the joint through 360 degrees. So you can do it with your ankles, you can do it with your hips, your shoulders and your lower back, as well as your neck as well. It's literally any rotation that I say through 360 degrees. Once you've completed that, we're then going to get onto our final move before beginning 1 more round. Is our hand release press up. So just slowing it right down a little bit. Chest is directly over the hands, elbows are in tight to the body. We're lowering our chest all the way through until we come into full contact with the floor. Lift the hands up and then press it back into the floor to come back up to your starting position. Now, when you're in the press up, guys, if you struggle to come back up as a proper press up, then just drop down to your knees and you can repeat the same movement. It's not a problem. Try and make sure when you're pressing up that your whole body is raising together and not our shoulders are lifting before our hips, okay? If you end up doing a bit of a worm movement, you want to try and lift your hips with it, as you raise the shoulders up, keeping your core as strong as you can throughout. Good, now that's complete, that is 1 round done. We're then going to move back around to the first movement, so our shoulder cars again where we're up and rotating round. And we go for, again, another 5. Remember, guys, you're working on the side that you're kneeling. So if your left knee is down, we're working the left arm, right knee's down, we're working the right arm. Just take your time, make sure we're not twisting to try and get a bit more range on that shoulder. We're just keeping the chest and the shoulders square to the front, rotate up, back round and down. For some of you, you may be able to stay pretty much back behind you for the most part, but if you find yourself coming out to there, then that's a bit of a sign that your shoulders are quite stiff. We want to try and cut back as much as we can throughout. Repeat now 5 reps on the second side. You feel that?
Huh?
You feel that?
Yeah.
And you say your arm comes out well.
I don't think I got very good mobility.
Don't twist, don't twist.
Huh?
Don't twist, stay square. Yeah, you should have a little. Good guys, if you want to work on increasing that as well, you can do it up against the wall. So if you're doing it kneeling down, obviously the closer you are to that wall, the harder it's going to be. Obviously that's a bit of a twist as well, probably avoid that. Onto lumbar cars now guys. But as I say, yeah, if you want to try and increase your shoulder mobility and flexibility and just loosen up them ligaments and tendons that surround and support the joint, then you can do it up against a wall. Just going to make it a little bit harder, and you'll figure out how far you need to come out then to what point you're at. If you're all the way out here, then you really need to try and work on bringing them shoulders back. Remember our lumbar cars, we're going to go 5 in one direction and then 5 in the opposite direction, guys. What we're trying to do is twist round the hips, so keeping our hips in the same position throughout. And then finally now our 10 hand release press ups. Try focus on lowering yourself down for sort of 2 to 3 seconds. Chest comes in full contact with the floor, and make sure guys, something I've been over with a few people who have come back to the gym now, if you open up your fingertips nice and wide and turn the hands outwards slightly, that automatically, without you even trying, just brings your elbows into your sides, which is going to make that press up that bit more effective and keep you working through the biggest range of motion and movement you can manage. If you do it with your hands straight, people's tendency is to bring their elbows out to the sides, whereas just twisting them hands outwards slightly brings their elbows in a bit tighter, and then you want to be pressing through the heels of your palms the whole time. Once you've completed 10 guys, you can rest there. Cool, so now getting into our main phase of work. As I said at the start, we have 2 sets that are muscular strength and then 1 set that's muscular endurance. And that's more our max reps, working for time rather than reps. Obviously anything really below sort of 9 reps even, is going to be more strength based. So we're going to work 3 sets guys. Your reps are going to go 8 on the first set, 6 on the second, and 4 reps on the third. If you have got heavier weights to move through, then think about upping the weight as you go through the sets as well guys, and taking as much rest as you need. So beginning with the first one, 2 dumbbells are going to come up to the shoulder, and we're going to go for a standing push press guys. You can have your feet shoulder width apart, or you can put 1 foot in front, 1 foot behind, wherever you're going to feel comfortable. But just dipping the hips and punching up. Make sure you've got enough space above your head as well. Good, bringing the biceps to the ears, and then just controlling it back down to the shoulder guys. So work through for 8 reps on that one. We'll take these moves step by step. 8.
Yeah.
Second move, obviously we'll demo it first and then you guys get stuck into that second move. Like I said, we're going to take it one by one. You're going to be in a tabletop position. By this I mean your hands are going to be directly beneath the shoulders, about shoulder width apart. Okay, and then the knees are going to be directly beneath your hips. So it's almost in a position where you can fit like either a chair or like a box or something just underneath your body. You need to keep strong in the core, strong in your lower back, and make sure you have a stable position. If you need to, you can wind your feet a little bit and bring your hands closer together, so you're almost making a triangle point with the feet and the hands. When you're ready, just row it into the side of the body. Just bring the dumbbell to the side and back down. It's 8 reps in total. So it works out as 4 either side, guys. Try and keep them hips as square to the floor as you can as well, guys. This is going to work a great deal of core stability as well. So the deeper layers of the core muscles are really going to get a good workout here, because ideally they're going to be engaged to try and keep yourself as still as possible. Yeah. Final move then that you guys can get onto is going to be the close grip chest press, or floor press, bench press, whatever you want to call it, okay? For this one, guys, it depends on the weight of your dumbbells. If you find that they are quite heavy and you can't quite manage, then go to a kettlebell, as Thomas shows you now. So you're going to spin around so you're laying on your back.
Oh, it's this one.
So Thomas is going to work with the kettlebell just because the 20s are quite heavy. If you are working with two dumbbells, guys, they need to stay pressed together the whole time, elbows in tight to the body and driving back up. But if you want to work with the kettlebell, then that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's that.
Thomas do that. No. Well, yeah, you can do that.
So you're going to bring your hands in as close as you can get them on the kettlebell or the dumbbells, wherever you're working. You're going to press all the way up, and then you're just going to bring it in tight to the body, elbows down to the sides. Good. And when you're at the top, guys, tense the chest as hard as you can in the center, and then slowly lowering back down. Good, that's all 3 exercises for our first set of muscular strength complete. We're going to head back down to the start now. As I say, guys, 6 reps for the second set. If you have got heavier weights to move up to, then I would suggest doing that, because obviously it's going to keep that progression moving. However, if you're working with the same weights, again, just take the time and maybe think about trying to add in a bit of a tempo as well. So particularly for this one, you explode up as fast as you can, and then it's 2 to 3 seconds on the way down. If you can't manage the 2-3 seconds, just be mindful and make sure you're controlling the weight all the way down. Second move now is back to that tabletop rows. So again, wind the feet as much as you need to. Work out how stable you're going to feel. Some people, for them, they may be able to have their hands directly beneath their shoulders and their knees hip width apart, and they may feel pretty comfortable at that stage. If you don't feel comfortable there, like I say, bring the hands in closer and just wind the feet to give you almost that triangle position. Keeping hips as square to the floor as you can. 6 reps in total. Likewise, when we get to the 4 reps, it'll be the same again. So I was on that close grip floor press now. As I say, having the hands in as close as you can together, keeping the chest tense the whole time. Try to minimal tension release through that as you can. You want to keep that tension throughout the whole movement. Good work, guys. Final set now. You're going to move back to the first move again, and this time it's going to be 4 reps on each move. So back to that standing push press. As I say, if you're starting to struggle, if you're going up for a heavier weight, then you can always take on that split stance where you position one foot in front of the other, slight bend in the knees, dip the hips and punching up, and just controlling the whole way down. Try and make sure, guys, you're not leaning too far back on this one either. Adopting that split stance is going to keep your weight more over your shoulders more over your hips, which is going to manage you a little bit better. When you start leaning back, that's when you're going to put pressure on your lower back. And if your lower back's bad anyway, you don't want to make it any worse. hips square, strong through the core stability muscles, guys. Just take your time on that one. If anything, now you're at 4 reps and there's not a lot of work to be done, it's just 4 in total. Just pull in, pause for a second, keeping your hips square, and then slowly lowering back down. So we're really trying to focus more on that tempo. Particularly if you have got heavier weights to go to, then just focus more on the tempo because you're going to get just as much benefit out of it. Final move now, close grip floor press. Making sure again, as I keep saying, guys, just tension throughout. So tensing the chest as hard as you can in the middle, elbows in tight to the body. Try and get the elbows to the floor if you can, and then drive it back up. If you're working with them 2 dumbbells, just keep them together throughout.
Yeah, she's been there.
Good, guys. So next set we're going to get onto, we're going to stick with that muscular strength format. So again, we're going to work through 8 reps, 6 reps and 4 reps. For this particular set now, we're going to focus more on the kettlebell, but again, you can change it as much as you need to. If you find an exercise easier with dumbbells, whatever else it is, then you can work through that. So beginning with the kettlebell, we're going to show you 1 rep as a demo, and then if you guys carry on with us. So upright rows to begin. You know, stand tall, you haven't got to bend the knees, just arms straight and rowing up below the chin. What you guys need to focus on is try and lift the shoulders up first with straight arms. So from there, shrug the shoulders up to your ears. So it's just to engage them traps and your lats a little bit more, and then raising up, bringing it below. Try and avoid as much dip and pull as you can, okay? It's not a high pull, we're not moving down to the floor or anything like that. All we're trying to do is work from strict straight arms just to below the chin, and then slowly back down. Again, adding in that shrug if you can do. Once you've completed 8 on there, you're then going to move to your Romanian deadlifts with the kettlebell. So again, I'm going to show you 1 rep, and then you guys move through at your own pace. So standing tall to start. Slight bend in the knees, and then what we're trying to do is hinge forward at the hips. So the knees stay exactly where they are, keeping the kettlebell in as close as you can, just till you feel it in the hamstrings, in the backs of the legs, and then coming back up to standing. Make sure you guys turn your hips back as well. So that's going to engage your core. It's going to keep you nice and stable. And we're doing hinging and back up. Key note, guys, when you're working through this, don't lean back, okay? Leaning back will not bring that kettlebell, the bar, dumbbells, whatever you're using any higher. That is as high as you're going to go. So make sure we're finishing, stacking the shoulders over the hips. We're stable. This is our safest spot. And then we're moving back down. Try and avoid as well, guys, letting the shoulders come forward throughout, right? We keep the shoulders pulled back, chest driven up, and the lats engaged. Final move now we're going to get onto, before we head back around to start again, is our pullover. So with this one, if you find it easy with a dumbbell, you can do where you just have it in front of you, relax back and back over the chest height again, or sorry, back over your chest. But if you can work with the dumbbell, even better. So let your arms fall back, and then pull back over the top. That's it. Like I say, guys, if you want to work with 1 dumbbell, you can perform the exact same movement. If you've got a kettlebell, use a kettlebell. For some of you, this might be quite tough, so only come back as low as you can go. Come back as far as you can come back up, if that makes sense. So don't go all the way to the floor if you can't bring it back all the way over your chest. Just go as far as you can manage, and then back over the top. Good, so breather there, rest if you need to. If you're good to go, guys, we're going to get straight back to our upright rows, this time working on 6 reps on either move. Make sure anytime you pick up the kettlebell, don't just hunch over and just lift it up, guys. You want to practice good technique throughout. It's going to make you a whole lot better when it comes to training, getting more benefit out of it. So squatting down, lifting up to waist height, shrugging the shoulders in first, so you're pulling the shoulder into the shoulder joint, and then rowing up, and you'll feel it a lot more across the shoulders and the traps.
Your shoulders up. So, all the way down, relax. Shoulders up.
Now moving on to our deadlifts, guys. We want to keep that kettlebell running between the thighs the whole time, okay? So that kettlebell's not going to come out to there. It's just going to run down between the legs as low as you can manage. Probably about halfway down the shins is about right for most people when it comes to a Romanian deadlift. So we're not working strict and we're not working power. We don't want to go all the way from the floor or anything like that. So all we're trying to do is just hinging forward, making sure the knees aren't bending with it. We want to keep the knees exactly where they are, just forward and back up. Moving on to our pullover now. This should really pull through the chest, guys. So you should be really feeling this across the top of the chest there as you come back over to the top of you. Good, so slowly lowering it back down behind. Remember, only go as far as you can manage to come back. Don't go all the way to the floor if you can't come all the way back over the chest. Engage the chest muscles throughout as well. So very similar to that close grip floor press. As we're coming back over and we're bringing the arms over the chest, tensing as hard as you can throughout the chest, and then slowly lowering back. Keeping a slight bend in the elbows as well. If you go straight arms, you're probably going to find it a whole lot harder to come back over the top. And we want to avoid that as much as we can. We want to still be able to bring it back. Good. Once you've done 6, you can rest there, and as soon as you're ready, good to go, you can get stuck straight back into the first exercise again, which is going to be our upright rows one last time for 4 reps on each set, on each move, sorry. So from that squatting position up to standing, slight bend in the knees as well, guys, or you keep your legs straight. It's more about personal preference, really. That slight bend is just going to soften the knees a little bit, and then rowing up. Remember, you're shrugging the shoulders in first, and then pulling up. Feel that more?
Huh?
Feel that more when you do that?
Yeah. I thought I was doing it before, but I think I was sort of tensing.
On to our second move now, our deadlifts. Again, guys, try not to bend the knees as you move forward. All you're doing is just hinging forward at the hips. So you should be able to feel this throughout your lower back, and then your hamstrings as well, which obviously locate at the back of the thighs. And all we're trying to do is just hinge forward, keeping the hands in as close as you can. Imagine it like a toe touch. So when you're angling forward down to the toes, there and back up. Final move now, guys, is back to the pullover. Again, try and push the range of motion on this now. So if you can let your arms go back that a little bit further, please do, just give it a go. But again, only moving back as far as you can come back up to the top. We want to make sure this moves slow, guys. Don't want to rush this, because if you rush, the odds of you coming back up are pretty slim. So, because you're just going to let that kettlebell go, and you're going to struggle to have that leverage to bring it back over the top of you. So, just slow it down as much as you can. Tempo, guys, it's all about tempo. 3 seconds back, second pause, and a second back over the top of you. Good, so you're going to take about maximum 60 seconds rest now, so I've got time for Thomas. So he's going to take 60 seconds rest, and then we're going to move into our finisher / muscular endurance phase. So you've got 3 moves to do, okay, and it's going to be 1 minute per move to achieve as many reps as you can. What I want you guys to do as well at home is just note down the amount of reps you manage, because all these I'm sure you'll probably do at some point again in the future, whether it's with us or at your own pace, your own training. So just make a note, and you're going to have 30 seconds and again between each move before going on to the next one. So you're going to have that little bit of rest time as well, just to give yourself 30 seconds for your muscles to recover, which is about right when you're training muscular endurance. So what we're going to work through, guys, you're going to begin at the press up position. And this is good technique only. If you do need to drop down to your knees, that's absolutely fine. But if you do a shit rep, be honest with yourself, don't count that rep and then continue, okay? You're only competing against yourself here, and then your future self when you come to repeating it again. So, whether you're on your knees or your toes, it's 1 minute, as many reps as you can. I'm going to keep an eye on the time for Thomas. And we're starting in 3, 2, 1. Make sure you're counting. can also rest as much as and when you need to, guys. That's so far.
Yeah.
So 30 seconds in for Thomas. Make sure, guys, that the whole body is raising together. You don't want your shoulders raising for your hips. If they are, and you can't move all together, if they are, guys, and you can't get that all together motion, then drop down to your knees. And if you find 2 knees too easy, then just sort of lock one leg behind the other. It's just so you're relaxing. You're trying to drive as much weight through that one leg as you can, whether you're using your right or your left through that knee, and then practice that as well. So that's like an in-between, going from your knees to your toes. There's an in-between there to go to one knee instead. Remember them wide fingertips as well. Hands out slightly, bringing the elbows in tight to the sides, all the way down, all the way up. Ready? And time, guys,
46.
rest there. Huh?
46.
20 seconds over, that's my fault.
What?
Yeah. Sorry guys, that's my fault.
You?
Too easy talking. How many did you manage that?
46, but I don't know what.
Alright, so 46, so we'll call it about 40 because that extra 6 was probably after the time. So guys, moving on to the next one, you need your dumbbells for this one now. I'll keep a better eye on the time for this one. And it's going to be max renegade rows, guys. So starting out in that high plank position. This time we're going to go for wide feet. You're going to be in a high plank. It's not quite like the tabletop, but remember, wide feet, hands together, and you make it a little bit easier for yourself. As many reps as you can in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Each arm is going to count as 1. So just done 2 arms, it's 2 reps. Just practice, guys. Good technique as well. Keeping them hips as square to the floor as you can. Got time, 45 seconds. Again, resting as and when you need to. Do it 15 seconds. And time.
22.
So 22 reps there for Thomas. Again, only counting good reps, guys. Your hips may twist a little bit, but you don't want them twisting all the way that your ass is up in the air and you're turning throughout. So last move now we're going to get onto is hang snatch. The difference between hang and a power snatch, guys, a power snatch will go all the way from the floor. Hang snatch will just swing into the upper thigh, bang straight up into the air, switching hands at the chest, and then swinging back through. So alternating sides as you go. Make sure you got enough space up above your head. 1 minute, as many reps as you can in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So use that momentum, swing back through, and as you're coming forward, as soon as you reach your shoulder height, guys, that's when you need to work. Momentum will carry you up to shoulder height. Beyond that, you need to give it a little bit of a push just to get it all the way up above the head, making sure we're locking out the elbow at the top. 45 seconds. Good. Swing that arm back. Sit. Thirty seconds. Do it 15. And time. Ready?
I think 27, but
What arm did you finish on?
I don't know.
Finish on the left side, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So for you, yeah, it's probably about right. You should probably start on the right. And then you would start on the left, so the right would be you. Good guys, right, so that is complete. Hope you all enjoyed that. So just like I say, mark down your reps. So 40 press ups for Thomas, 22 reps on the renegade rows, and then 27 reps on the snatches there. So good stuff, guys. Hope you all enjoyed that. Make sure you're stretching afterwards, and then yeah, happy days. See you later.